Welcome to It's the Comptons podcast, where we hold nothing back. I am Ben.
And I'm Trin.
And welcome to episode 1.
Yeah,
episode
welcome.
1. Let's...
This is exciting.
Yeah. People are asking, like, what are you going to talk about? We're going to talk about everything. I know the smart thing is to have, like, is it niche or niche?
A niche? Unless you're French, then it's niche. No, I'm just kidding.
Then we need to find a niche, but we're not going to do that. We're going to talk about everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, to start, I have my notes here. We're going to get political. We're talking Biden. We're talking Trump. We are talking vaccine, no vaccine. We're talking masks or no masks. We're going to get into it today.
It's going down.
Just kidding. Clickbait. So, first of all, we're going to play a little game. I don't have a name for this game yet. But we're each going to read movie titles that neither of us have, or that one of us have seen. The other person hasn't seen it.
Yeah.
And the other person has to guess the plot of that movie, like what it is. So, I'm going to go first.
Okay, can we go back and forth? Like, you'll give me... Okay.
Yeah. So, your movie is Get the Gringo.
Get the Gringo. Okay, so this sounds like some white guy was, like, down in South America and committed a crime, and then, like, the mob bosses had to go after him and get him and be like, you're done. You're
pretty much right.
Really? Hey.
A youngster helps an American career criminal learn to survive behind the walls of a brutal Mexican prison.
Hey, pretty
solid. You nailed that.
Thank you.
Mel Gibson.
Thank you. Oh, wow. How interesting.
Right.
I've never heard of that. Okay. My first one is The Bridges of Madison County.
Romantic chick flick. Couple meets on a bridge. Main character has red hair. She's British.
Lots of details.
And it's honestly a movie that you would just watch and be like, I don't know why I watched that. Because there's nothing special about it. Literally, they meet on the bridge, and
that's that.
That's how lame it is. So, what is it?
Okay, so I actually have never seen Bridges of Madison County.
Okay.
Because to me it looks like a movie that I would watch and then be like, why did I just waste my time? But basically it's about a guy who's a photographer that goes to photograph the bridges in Madison County, which apparently are like historical or beautiful, or I don't know. And then he has like this love affair with like a stay-at-home mom that he
with
meets.
red hair.
Maybe. I don't know.
I'm assuming so, and I think I'm right.
Okay. So you were kind of close.
The Pale Tourist.
So this sounds like almost like a missionary movie. Like a white American goes to like northern Africa and is like a pale person in the midst of black African people, and they think he's a tourist, but he's really a missionary there to tell them about Jesus.
It's Jim Gaffigan's comedy tour.
Oh my gosh. What's it called again? The Pale Tourist.
The Pale Tourist.
Okay, well.
Yes.
I was wrong. It's not a missionary flick.
Nope.
Okay.
It's not.
Okay, my next one. The Lost Boys. This was a movie that I watched growing up. So, I've seen
to me, I'm thinking, what is that movie, The Outliers? Or that's a book. That's a Malcolm Gladwell book. What's the movie where it's like all the greasers?
It's like out, isn't it out, what is it, Outsiders?
Outsiders, yeah. To me, a B-rated version of that.
Okay, so like the greasers and like, what do they do? It's just about friends or something?
It's about friends, and they go out on an adventure together.
Yeah. 4
boys, freckles, striped shirts, and they go out on an adventure together, and they get lost, and they learn life lessons out in the wilderness.
Okay, so it's actually about vampires. It's about like some kids that are like really into like comic book stuff, and they end up like somehow colliding with real life vampires, and I think there's like a gang of bad vampires that like then want to get them or whatever.
Naturally.
And like they have to like make it through the night or something.
Yeah.
So my friend and I were like, whenever I'd spend the night at her house, to be like, we're watching Lost Boys because it would scare us to death. And it was probably so inappropriate for us to watch, but anyway. Yeah, that's
I would have never guessed vampires.
So, wrong on that one.
All right. Osmosis Jones.
Wow. So the only, like...
Let me hydrate.
What comes to mind when you say osmosis is like reverse osmosis, like cleaning water, which I know clearly has absolutely nothing to do with this movie. It's about a hypnotist, and he hypnotizes people and then steals their money.
So. It's a hair on my phone. Mixing live action and animation, the film allows the misadventures of a zoo worker with an unknown malady he contracted after eating an egg contaminated with simian saliva. The responsibility of eradicating this lethal virus falls to a white blood cell cop and a fussy cold cure pill. It's half animated, half real.
Have you seen this?
It was a popular movie.
What?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I lost on that one. Okay, next one. Drop Dead Fred. Also one I watched in my childhood that was probably wildly inappropriate for me to watch, but I have so many funny memories from watching the movie.
Drop Dead Fred. Your classic teen flick. They're out at a cabin and everything goes south. Like, there's a murderer. The person running the campgrounds is super creepy. But he ends up, like, saving everybody. That's Drop Dead Fred.
Okay. So Drop Dead Fred is about a woman who, I think she gets engaged or maybe she's married. And she's, like, having some, like, mental health struggles. And so her childhood imaginary friend comes back. And so now, instead of being a child and having Drop Dead Fred as the name of the imaginary friend, she's now an adult with Drop Dead Fred, her imaginary friend. Oh. And he is the one that, like, entices her and encourages her to, like, do naughty things. So, like, go out and, like, make mud pies and come into the house and roll around on her mom's expensive furniture, like, covered in mud or whatever. Well, I think that was when she did when she was a kid, that he, like, encouraged her to do. But now she's an adult, and he's back encouraging her to do some naughty things.
Oh.
So, like... her husband's like, what's happening? And I think she even ends up going back to her mom. And I don't really... I think there's, like, pills that she can take to, like, make him go away.
Oh, wow.
But I don't think she wants to.
This sounds like the next youth group movie.
It's very interesting. Okay, anyway, so you were wrong on that one.
Oh, man. All right, this is my last one. We were supposed to do 3, but I got a 4th one.
Well,
do you have
I have a fourth one, too.
Okay.
Why did we both do 4 when we were supposed to do 3?
Because we're
rule breakers.
Okay. Jinx, you have to make out with me. All right, number 4, Real Steel.
Real Steel. This sounds like an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. And, like, it's, like, kind of like the Terminator almost. Like, and he's maybe a cop, but then everyone, like, thinks he did a crime. And then he has to, like, go rogue and, like, I did not commit the crime. I don't know. That's like...
That's the climax of the movie. I did not commit the crime.
Yes, that's it.
A retired boxer reboots his career by joining the robot boxing scene.
Oh, what?
After hitting rock bottom, it's a good movie. After hitting rock bottom, Hugh Jackman joins his son to build and train a champion robot for his last shot at redemption.
Wow, very interesting. Okay, so my last one is Kindergarten Cop.
Remember I told you I've seen that with Arnold Schwarzenegger?
You told me you saw that?
Yeah.
Oh, well. Anyway, I guess I agree then. I forgot.
I think what I remember from it, I remember the cover. There's the O is like, or no, the C is handcuffs.
Oh.
I think on the cover it's Arnold Schwarzenegger. Like something happens at the school.
Mm-hmm. Well, anyways, tell me then. What is it about? Something happens at the school and what?
And Arnold Schwarzenegger saves everybody at the school. That's literally...
Who is Arnold Schwarzenegger? Like, what is his character? Who is he?
He's a parent.
He's a parent? And he has to, like, save the school?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. So, actually, he's a cop, and he's, like, trying to find some, like, drug lords or something, and that requires him...
The drug lords are the kids.
I guess. That requires him to, like, go undercover as a kindergarten teacher. And so he has to be a kindergarten teacher and deal with all these little kids that he is like not equipped to deal with. And I think he falls in love with like the teacher next door, like in the next door classroom. And
action rom-com, I'm in.
Yeah, and I don't know how going undercover as a kindergarten teacher would lead to finding drug lords, but that's what the movie's about. And I've seen it a long time ago, but I don't really
watch that again.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
All right, high five. Good job.
Good job. I'd say you were the closest with, you nailed Get the Gringo, and then Real Steel, you were really close.
The pale faced one, like the pale.
Yeah, I don't know if you lose points because of that one.
That one was horribly wrong. Okay.
Can we just talk about the fact that when you're talking about kids, last night I'm rocking Sunday. It's like 3 a.m. Rocking Sunday. And I'm like not spinning. That'd be weird.
Spinning her around.
I was just like walking like kind of in circles, and there's nobody. Everybody. Shine's asleep. Tori's asleep, and then all of a sudden, I don't have my glasses on, and all of a sudden, there's a small person standing in my door, and I was like, "Yeah, Jesus, help me!" That was Shine. But I mean, that kid. At 3 a.m. with no glasses on, dark, that kid looks like a pale, creepy little thing.
It reminded you, the pale tourist. Is that what
the pale tourist.
You? Okay.
And it just made me,
scared you to death.
You know those moments where like your heart drops and you think this is the moment where everything goes south.
We're done.
That's what I felt.
Yeah.
That kid scares me all the time.
I know. I mean, he scares me sometimes when he comes into the room at night, but
he's so quiet.
Yeah, but also like, we have a tiny human living here, so like you just kind of have to expect that he's probably going to pop up once in a while. It doesn't matter.
It's not okay.
You scare easy, so
I do scare easy.
Okay.
I do. So let's dive in.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about 2020. We're going to take a moment and look back, and then we're going to look forward at 2021.
Yeah.
So I want to do a little recap of 2020 before we dive in.
Yeah.
So these are some kind of like little highlights of our year.
Okay.
So in 2020, January 1st, do you know what happened?
January 1st?
January 1st of 2020.
No, we found out we were going to have twins.
Oh, was that the same day?
No,
it wasn't the same day. No.
I'm
like, we did?
No,
we got our van.
Too far along in
we got our van.
Oh, we got a van.
We traded in our red RAV4, and we got a white Toyota
minivan.
Sienna.
Yeah.
That was January 1st.
Yeah.
And then February, my best friend Travis came to visit us, and he broke the van. He broke the door. Broke it.
Yeah, they have like the automatic shutting doors, and he just, used his brute strength and broke it.
Yeah. I said, Travis, don't shut it. And he was like, dude, don't be lame. Breaks the door. So we had to get that fixed.
Shout out, Trav.
Shout out to Travis. March.
We had
our babies, and we also had everything
taken away.
Locked down. We had our babies on what, Thursday? Friday?
I think it was Thursday.
And then Monday.
And then we went home Sunday, I think. And then Monday, everything was shut down.
Yeah. What an experience. We were in the hospital. It's the day to give birth. Mm-hmm. There's a tornado watch.
Whatever, the less serious one. Because I
told
the doctor it was the more serious one, and everyone was like, what?
Yeah.
And Ben's like, no.
There's tornado watch and tornado warning. Tornado watch is, hey, watch out, there might be a tornado. Tornado warning is, hey, there's a tornado coming. I tell Trin, hey, there's a tornado watch. She tells the nurse, and I think all the nurses, she was like, there's a tornado warning. And they were like, what? I was like, no, it's just a watch.
Well, to me, like, I'm a Californian. Tornado in the sentence, it's a bad deal. Like, get out. Like, yeah, same difference.
So we had the babies.
Yes.
Changed our life.
Yeah.
Completely.
Oh, my goodness.
And then April, I started watching Star Wars.
Wow.
Became obsessed.
Had to write that down.
Had to write that in there.
Worthy of memory box, right?
It is. Okay. I have been trashing Star Wars my entire life. And I joined the other team this year. I'm obsessed
Welcome
with Star
to
Wars.
the dark side. Isn't that what they would say?
Yeah. Welcome to the dark side, brother.
Hey.
In May, we started our meal plan
which we fell off of.
I'm telling you, this year I was thinking about it. This year I have weighed the most and the least I've ever weighed in like the last like 10 years. The most and the least. Yeah. So we started our meal plan.
Oh wow.
And then in August, we thought we were going to move to Arizona.
Oh yeah, we did.
We thought we were absolutely going to move to
Arizona.
Arizona.
God was like guiding us towards Arizona.
Yeah.
And then something happened, and we knew that it wasn't meant to be.
Yeah.
And then what happened?
And then we got a phone call.
Hey.
From Uncle Nate. And Uncle Nate from Michigan offered us a job in Michigan, and we were living in Wisconsin.
Right, and Michigan has been his home state, and so we were like, this is totally like full circle moment. How incredible. And so we came to Michigan.
Yeah, we came to Michigan.
In what month? September?
Yeah, August 30th was our last day.
Yeah, we lived in a hotel for like
3 weeks. 2 or 3 weeks.
I think like 2 weeks with twins and a 4-year-old. And during COVID,
it
was very crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we bought a house.
And we bought a house. We were waiting for the house to close.
Right. So
that's why we're living out of the hotel.
Yeah.
And so we bought this house. I showed it to Trinity on Zillow. And Trin was like, that's the one. That's the one I want. And I was like, all right, let's do it.
Yeah.
So I said, we'll pay this in full.
Yeah.
And then they laughed.
Yeah.
And then Tori moved in with us.
Yes. And so...
my little sister.
Yes. And that was awesome. And my mom and your mom both got to meet the babies finally, because for the first 6 months of their life, they didn't meet any family. Yeah, no family. And so then when we moved, we needed help. So we had my mom help us, and then Tori was coming out to live with us. So Ben's mom came with her, and so they both grandmas got to meet the babies finally.
Yep. Yeah. And we can insert a little clip on YouTube. Yeah. To show everybody the moment I thought someone was breaking into our home, and it was really Trinity's mom surprising us at 10:30 at night in our front door. Yeah. Just walked right in. Walked right in.
If you're listening on Spotify or iTunes or whatever else, you can head over to
we might be able to just plug the audio in. They can just listen to it. It's not the same.
No, you have to.
I have a peanut butter and jelly in my hand, and I'm saying, "Hey, get out! Get out! Get out!"
Defending the house.
Defending the house. Yeah. Didn't put my PB&J down though.
Anyway, so you can head over to YouTube if you want to see the video.
Yeah. So, 2020. I'll let you go first because I talk slow, and so I'll let you kind of set the pace of everything. So 2020, what did you learn?
Yeah, so I felt like when I was praying about this, I kind of felt like God was telling me that 2020 was a highlighter year, or maybe like a magnifying glass year, whatever, one of the two. And kind of what that meant to me was that like the words were already written on the page, and 2021 just highlighted them, just made 2020 just like highlighted them, just made them come to life, just kind of bolded them for us, right? And so by words on the page, what I mean is how our lives already were. Things that we had decided were important, things we were investing in, things we weren't investing in, things we were putting on the back burner.
It kind of exposed things.
Right, it exposed things. It highlighted them.
Kind of diving into mine, but yeah.
Yeah, it highlighted them. It made them kind of stand out. So for some, it highlighted what they loved and what they valued. And then for others, it highlighted glaring issues that had been festering sort of like underneath the surface for a long time that had never been dealt with, right? So like, I know, if you weren't really investing in your marriage and then suddenly you were locked down in your home with your spouse for 3 months, and then inevitably, we've been here for a long time.
Raise your hand. Raise a comment if you had a quarantine fight. If you had at least 5 quarantine fights with your family or with your wife, or you know what I mean, the kids.
Yeah. So I feel like though, for some people that was really difficult because it was like, whoa, like now I'm kind of trapped with this person that I haven't been investing in, and now I've got to figure that out, work that out, or kind of like freak out. There was different options.
And you're also faced with topics that you're going to discuss.
Like you're together
And
I'm
you're
getting there. I'm getting there. So, and I would say even like for me, I'm an introvert, but even for me, it was weird to not be around people.
Yeah.
Like I crave and love like deep interaction that's like I walk away feeling fulfilled. But I definitely could do without people for a lot longer than Ben could. So even for me as an introvert, it started to become very weird, right? Because I'm totally away from people. And then it was eye-opening to hear people say that staying at home was like detrimental to them. Mm-hmm. I was honestly kind of shocked by that, because I was like, why are our kids having such a hard time being at home? Or why is this wife or this husband having such a hard time being at home? Like, home is supposed to be like your place of peace. Like, home is supposed to be the fun place, the relaxing place, the peaceful place. And it seemed like home was the stressful place, and nobody wanted to be there. They wanted to be back in their office. They wanted to be back, having like a long list of things that they were getting done, or a packed schedule on the weekends, like going from soccer game to this, to this, to this, to this, instead of like being with each other. And it was kind of shocking to me to hear people, post it on Facebook or talk about that, or even seeing some school surveys about, kids just, not having a good time being at home with their parents and their siblings. Because, home is such a source of like comfort and peace for us that I guess sometimes you can just assume that everyone's having the same experience as you. And that's not the case. If anything, 2020 highlighted that in a big way. It made me wonder, like if some of these people thought that was like normal to like not have, a good.
Sorry, it was on your lip.
It's okay. There was a hair on my lip. Okay. If people thought maybe that was normal, or if people were like, oh wow, like it's not normal that I haven't been investing in my marriage, or it's not normal that I crave being at work more than I crave being with my kids and wife. And if people maybe, or husband or whatever, if people maybe decided like, I need to revamp my home life. I really need to start investing here so that it will be pleasurable, and so that it will be a place that I desire to be. I thought a lot more about our ancestors than I ever have before in a lot of ways, like with a pandemic, like ancestors have gone through this before. With racial tensions, ancestors have gone through this before. With rationing, I know that like nothing was actually rationed to us except maybe toilet paper was rationed by like the signs in Target saying you better take 1 or 2 rolls or you're going to get kicked out, whatever. But like, I know there were times when there were things that we wanted that we would go to the shelf and it would be empty. And it was like, well, that recipe calls for that. Too bad. I got to find a replacement, you know? Or like your home, or just like the 5-mile vicinity around your home being your whole world. Because back in the day, like your family, they were the only people that you communicated with, really. Unless it was like a special occasion and you went, to visit family that was far off. And so it's interesting that back then that was normal. It was normal that your world was only that big. And now, because our world has kind of exploded and we have access to literally the entire world, even beyond the world, right? Like outer space.
Aliens.
Yeah.
I talk to aliens all the time.
Like we have access to so much more. And so it was like people felt really deprived that they didn't any longer have access to those things. And it was just very interesting to me because, however many years ago, 100 years ago, 70 years ago, it was absolutely not that way. Like that was very normal for your family to be the only and main ones that you interacted with. And so it was hard seeing people that I loved and respected making choices that I didn't love and respect. I think that was a big part of 2020, was understanding that people were going to make choices that were different from yours and that you may not love and that you may not respect, even though you love and respect those people. So it was very...
Then you just block them. Or you unfollow them.
It was.
I love that button.
The unfollow, It was a very interesting time, and it took a lot of kind of like introspection and thinking and lots of conversations about what does this mean? Why do they think this? Why do I think that? You know, and so it was a very interesting year.
I think something that it that spoke to me was, what's my limit? Like, as far as like people saying crazy things, Like, to me, you know me.
Yeah.
I don't deal with crazy. I love dealing with crazy, but I'm going to make it short.
Yeah.
And so, like, finding out, like, oh, like, you're saying all this, like, you know what? I'm just going to permanently mute you.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But, you know, who are the people that you're like, I love you so much. I know you're being so stupid right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I know I'm stupid, too. I post stupid stuff, too. But seeing, like, what's my limit? What's my capacity for you?
Yes, yeah. What's my capacity for...
How much am I going to deal with you?
The different choices you're making that I don't agree with versus what I believe.
Yeah.
Like, how far am I going to let that go?
Yeah. Like, to me it was hate.
Mm-hmm.
When I saw hate, I was like, oh,
yeah,
man.
that was your limit. You were
that was my limit where I'm like...
We're done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love you.
Yeah.
But...
Yeah.
I want to see pictures of people's babies.
Yeah. I think one thing that that benefited me was that I don't spend a ton of time on Facebook.
Yeah.
And Facebook, I feel like, is the one that's a little bit crazier.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like Instagram can get crazy too, but Facebook is definitely...
It's more in your face.
Yeah. And people are just like unashamed. Like they just lay it all out there. And so I think that kind of saved me from hitting the unfollow button a lot because I just didn't see it. Yeah. You know, so. Yeah. People believe everything they read, and it is infuriating. You know, I love research. I love college. I loved high school. Like, I am someone who is a student. You know, writing papers is something I love to do. Like, I'm constantly writing, even though no one is making me. And so if you're someone that, like, doesn't like to write unless, you know, someone's forcing you and you're getting a grade or whatever, then you may not, like, feel the way that I feel about this. But, man, it was so hard to understand what a credible source is, how to find a credible source, what is easily discredited on the internet, you know, the difference between, you know, someone blogging versus someone doing an actual research paper, the difference between people's titles and what they mean and their education and how that plays into things and their life experience and how that plays into things. All this, right? It was so infuriating for me this year to watch people just believe every single thing that they read. To read something on Facebook and to repost it and it be based in zero truth. Yeah. Zero truth. Okay, there's a difference between I have an opinion that's different than yours and this research says that that says what I'm saying is true and you have researched the facts of what you're saying is true. That's different. That's two different opinions. But then just posting something that is literally based in zero facts is
where
mind-boggling
just a simple Google search will be like,
oh, that's not happening today, or that's not true, or that's you know, was a lie made up by somebody trying to become famous or get in the spotlight.
Well, I think one of the hard things was there were so many different things coming at everybody, and it was so many things that you can't verify on either side. Like well, let's say obviously you can verify it.
It takes work,
but it takes work. Right. Yes. Like work,
yes.
Rihanna work.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah,
and it's like, who's gonna put the time into that when they could just hit
me
repost you?
Put the time into it.
You're gonna put the time into it.
Like
hours. She would spend hours. I'm like, what are you doing? She'd be like, I'm a biological mechanical scientist.
Like, truly, like, I want, before I repost something, I'm going to research it to the high heavens. And let me just say this, too. One other thing.
And I'm going to look at it and go, eh.
Like, sounds good. Yeah.
I'm not going to repost it, though.
That's true. But there's a difference. Even me using the word researching things is a very loose term. Because really what I was doing was Googling things. Like, it's almost offensive to like people who are actually researchers for all of us out here to be like, well, I've researched. Listen.
Sitting on the toilet. I'm researching.
Listen, even me, I spend hours looking into things before I post them. But that's not research. Like, people spend their life's work actually researching one specific subject or one specific thing. And so for all of us to assume that we somehow have a corner on this information because we've Googled for 14 hours or 70 hours or 100 hours.
Watch the YouTube video.
Right, still, we are not researchers, and we are not to the highest point of knowledge, especially as professionals are.
It's WebMD, but at like a blown up.
Right, and I totally understand that like some professionals can't be trusted, some industries can't be trusted. I totally get it. So, anyways, all of that to say that it was just kind of eye-opening to understand that the internet has given us so much information, and yet somehow we lack so much wisdom. Like applying the information is important, and I don't think we know quite how to do that with tact and with respect and with actual confirmation of sources and of data.
Yeah.
So, anyways, okay, it reminded me to keep the main thing the main thing.
Yeah.
So many wild rabbit trails and distractions were waiting to steal our joy this year.
Yeah. And our time. Just stealing time.
Yeah, stealing our time, stealing our joy. And really, like, if we could just focus on keeping the main thing, we would have a lot less anxiety, a lot less frustration, a lot less rage. And so I really think, like, that was a big banner for this year. Keep the main thing. Personally, I think it was one of our best years. Like you said, we had our babies. We came to Michigan. We bought our house. We have an awesome job.
I'd say it was the most exciting year.
Yeah,
that we've had.
Absolutely. Yeah. So that was it. That was 2020 for me.
Mine is going to be shorter. A little bit
shorter.
shorter.
Of course it's shorter. I'm going to talk a million miles every time you give me an opportunity.
Yeah.
So anyway, go ahead.
Kind of talking about, just going to piggyback off what you talked about.
Yeah. I
probably FaceTimed more people than I ever have. Mm-hmm. I wish I could like see the log of how many FaceTime calls I had, because I know I'm still, even now, I'm still constantly FaceTiming, calling people at the worst times. Trin's like, hey, can you change the girls? I'm like, yeah. Who can I talk to while I do this?
Yeah.
I'm an extrovert. I need people. Mm-hmm. I need to be around people. And I was FaceTiming people like crazy this year.
Yeah.
I miss people. I was willing to be like, hey, you go pick up food, I'll pick up food. Let's pull our cars up next to each other and talk. Shout out to Juan. We did that. I love people. And so my love for people and my extrovertness, making up a word, I don't know if that's a word, but it showed. But I wasn't like hurting, I wasn't like sitting there like, I just need to be around people. Like FaceTiming people, it filled that up.
Well, there was a void and you kind of found a solution.
Yeah. But I would say the main thing that I took away from 2020 was a personal relationship with God is so important. If you're, like we said, so 2019 in December, I was praying. I said, God, what's the word for next year? And I felt God say exposed. People are going to be exposed. And I really feel that happened last year. People were exposed. Everything. Our worst parts were exposed.
Yes.
Our systems were exposed. Our discipline or lack thereof was exposed. Everything was exposed. And so when things are exposed, you have to deal with them. Because if you don't, they're just going to sit there and you're going to get frustrated. And so I feel like having a relationship with God, a firm foundation. So when everything else is crazy, if you have a personal relationship with God, you're going to be a lot stronger. When those waves are going crazy and you're anchored in Him, you're going to be good. But if you're not, you're going to notice I was tossed left and right. I was tossed up and down. I was tossed out of the boat. I had to climb back in the boat. If you don't have that personal relationship with God, and I feel like if you didn't, it showed this past year. Yeah. If you don't have a hope, if you don't have a faith, if you don't have a foundation, it's easy to be tossed everywhere. Yeah. And so to me, that was the biggest thing. Like, man, I thank God that I have a relationship with God. But even my relationship with God was exposed where I was like, oh, I need to work on that. I need to fix this because I don't want these outside conditions messing me up. Because I would say if you're watching and you're a Christian, it was very easy to maybe slip back into things that maybe you never dealt with before. Maybe you're able to slip back into things. It like puts you into situations like say you are...
Like you slipped back into things that you had already conquered because you had all this free time.
Yeah, you had all this free time. You
alone.
had your mind to just go. You had social media.
Chaos and stress that like causes you to kind of go to...
Yeah, it's the perfect storm to say...
that isn't God.
Yeah, it's the perfect storm to say, you know what, things are just crazy. I'm going to allow myself to do this. Right. You know? And so that was my biggest thing. Oh, it's time to eat lunch. I just snoozed it, so it's going to come back on. Let me turn it off.
Yeah, we should turn it on.
Lunch. Boom. So that was my number one thing, like having that relationship with God. And the number two, the second thing was learning how to be flexible, learning how to adapt, learning how to be productive in that. If you are not a flexible person, you were stretched this year. If you're a person who has like a calendar and set everything, you were stretched this year. I'm not that way. Yeah, I don't have a calendar. I don't do that. But I still had to find ways to say, okay, I'm going to be flexible in this. My whole plan for this year has completely changed. Yeah. Especially when it affects your career. I'm a youth pastor, and so I didn't plan on being online all year. I didn't. Still don't want to. Yeah, you know. Yeah. But you have to be flexible, and you just have to say, okay, this is what God has, and this is what we're going to do, and I'm just going to work with it. Because if you try to break out of that wall, you're going to be frustrated, and you're going to get exposed, right? Yeah. But those were like the two that I wrote down. But just as I'm talking, I'm just thinking about how my friends and family, how we used each other to get through the year. You know, we were like calling each other. Yeah, you know, like most of us are all going through the same thing. You know, where you're like, hey, I can't really go hang out with a bunch of people right now. And so having those solid friends that you can call and you can talk to, those family members that you can connect with, just making sure your foundation in everything is secure. Yeah. Like, I can't imagine having flaky friends during 2020. Yeah.
Or like a really hard marriage. Yeah. You know, during this. Like, that had to be so difficult. Yeah. Or a kid in a home that, like, wasn't super stable. Like, that had to be so difficult.
Even with us, there was a moment where we were like, hey, we're not on the same page.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because we had COVID, we had twins, we had Tori moving in.
We had racial tension.
We had racial tension.
Political debate. Moved across
political
the
stuff. Moved across the country. We had bought a new house. And there was a moment where we sat down and we were like, there's a lot of stuff getting in between us. Right. And so
we need to get on the same
we
page.
Told Tori to take the girls and go stay at a hotel for a week. And we're going to go to Bora Bora. And we just sat down and we just talked things out.
We wish. We sat in the van in the driveway. But we got on the same page. Yeah. Yeah. And that's important.
Yeah. You know, you have to decide what things are worth putting the work in. Yeah. And I feel like 2020 helped revealing, you know, bringing things to the surface. Yeah. Taking what? Did I use the wrong word?
No, I just said highlight because that's like the word that I used at the beginning. Like it helped highlight what do you need to work on and what have you been focusing on that is trash that you need to throw out or isn't worth your, you know, whole focus and you pouring your whole life into, you know.
And you can see like, wow, I've poured so many hours into this thing. And it benefited me zero in 2020.
Right. It made me think of like a lot of workaholics, you know, like I used to work at a tax firm and there were people who just lived there, you know, and it's like, man, in this year when you had to be at home with your family, like that was probably very shocking and it probably brought to light like, hey, I should be focusing more probably on my family, on my kids, on my wife, on my home than I am every single day, you know, on my job. Because that can be taken away from you, you know. So, 2021?
2021.
Okay.
2020.
Peace out.
Peace, you bum. I'm just kidding. It was a great year for us.
It was a great year.
Some people, I get it. Some people lost people. Yeah. We had people
hanging on by a thread.
You know, our close friends lost people. It was a tough year for many, many people. Yeah. For us, we didn't have those personal experiences. Yes, we went through things. Our close friends and family went through things. Yeah. But I would say all in all,
we came out, you know, with a blessed year and we're grateful because I know a lot of people didn't and a lot of people are still still suffering. Yeah. You know.
If you're still stuck in 2020, get out.
Yeah.
Let's move forward.
Yeah.
But 2021.
2021.
What are you looking forward to?
So
this year.
Well, hold on. First, I feel like there's a word that I have for 2021. And I feel like a lot of people are expecting 2021 to be a redemption year.
Yeah.
A year of redemption. Like this, like...
Oh, redemption!
I was going to sing Redemption Sings My
Sings
Soul.
my soul!
You can go grab that on Spotify by Ben Compton.
With the plug.
But I feel like a lot of people are expecting that, right? Like, I missed out on this trip to Italy in 2020, so 2021, like, I'm going, or my marriage, my wedding didn't happen in 2020, so 2021, I'm going to have this big blowout wedding, or, even smaller things, like my business, had to be closed in 2020, and so 2021, we're going to have the best year ever financially for our business, and I really, I didn't see my family in 2020. That's us, right? So it's like in 2021, we want to see them all the time.
Literally. Yeah. But we have family that live an hour away. Yeah. A bunch of family that we haven't really gotten to see yet.
Right. And even, my family in California, we have twin daughters that, this would be a time we would be having so much help and
come touch a baby,
right? And so
take
much,
the babies,
and
we'll sleep,
and so much fun with them, and them seeing all these mile marker moments, that they're not able to really be a part of, and so, but this is where the kind of thing, the redemption part comes in. Is I really think that we need to recognize what things are out of our control and what things are in our control. Yeah. Because the reality is that 2020 showed us so much is out of your control, so much more than you anticipated or than you ever thought is 100% out of your control. Yeah. And so I feel like counting on the redemption of 2020 to be fulfilled through things that are out of our control during 2021 is setting us up for failure.
Yeah, I think 2021 is going to be worse.
Shut up.
I'm just kidding.
That's not all what I'm saying. No. What I'm saying is that instead, we should allow 2020 to find redemption in 2021 through things like focusing on a passion, praying more, making healthier life choices, creating peace in our homes, forgiving long-held or deep grudges. These are things that we can control regardless of outside circumstances. Yeah. But if we get all of our hopes on the fact that this year I'm going to redeem that trip that got stolen in 2020, it's going to be redeemed in 2021 through a better trip. All that family time I missed in 2020, it's going to be redeemed through more family time in 2021. Maybe not. Those things were taken from us in 2020, they could be taken from us again in 2021. So instead of thinking that this year is going to be so redemptive in those ways, how about we make it redemptive in ways that we can control, and we can start fixing our insides. Make it a redemptive year that way. If 2020 taught us anything, maybe it's that we can't count on things to always be the way that we expect them to be. Yeah. And so personally, in 2021, my word for the year is commitment.
Commitment. She's committing to me finally.
I want to be committed, because so often we set out with these goals, whether it's at the beginning of the year or something you pick up along the way, and you're great at it for a little bit, and then it just falls off. And listen, Ben and I have talked about this. We have every good excuse. We have it. I have it. I have every good excuse. Yeah. I just had twin babies. I have a 4-year-old son who's not going anywhere. He's staying here with us all the time.
Where else would he go?
To school. No, to school.
He doesn't leave. He's always here. He sleeps here every night. He wakes up and he's there.
No. He doesn't go to preschool. He doesn't go to
a friend's house,
to events, to a friend's house, to Sunday school.
He doesn't go to boxing.
Hey, if that's what we want to put him in. But listen, he doesn't go to any of those, things. He is here. He's our full-time responsibility. There is no outside thing that he's going to, right? And then we have a new home that needs lots of work, and we have full-time jobs that require a lot of us. This job, being in ministry, is not a 9-to-5 job. It's a 24/7, 24 hours, 7 days a week, every single day of the year kind of job. Because
the man is non-stop.
Because we are pouring into people in their times of need, and times of need
So we have to be available.
Are all the time,
all
right?
The time.
And so we really, really have, all of our family lives far away, you know, like our close family, you know.
Yeah.
We have every excuse in the book, every legitimate excuse. People would not fault us if we said, listen,
we're taking 2021 off.
Taking
it off.
Our goal is to survive,
Yeah.
you know, like people would not fault us.
Yeah.
But just because you have every excuse in the book does not give you the right to bury the gifts that God has given you.
Yeah.
And God's serious about the gifts that he's given you, and he expects a return on that investment.
Yeah.
And so I really want to be committed to Bible reading. I want to be committed to our schedule. I want to be committed to creating endurance physically. I want to be able to run around after my kids and not be out of breath.
Yeah.
I want to be committed to my children and to pouring into them and to doing things with them that cultivate their gifts that God has given them. I want to be committed to my husband and to all that means. I want to be committed to saving money. I really think that what I want to do is just focus on daily rhythms that lead us to bettering all of those areas. It's not about perfection, but it's about implementing daily rhythms that get us a little bit closer to better health, a little bit closer to saving money, a little bit closer to cultivating our child's gift, a little bit closer to being more intentional with our relationship. So, okay. Like I said, I could talk forever. So how about you, Boo? 2021.
2021. I told you last night, this year, and it's not just, hey, in 2021, this is like, I want 2020 to be, I was praying yesterday.
2021.
I want 2020 to be my floor.
Oh, okay.
I don't want to ever go back, Yeah. I want it to be my floor, and I only want to go up from here. And so I told you last night, I want to be a physical and spiritual beast.
Yeah.
So like spiritual and physical health are very important to me. I say that, but I've never proven that.
Yeah.
Not that I've never proven that, but I didn't show in my actions.
No, yeah.
So this year, I want to show that, it's important in my mind. I want it to also be important on the outward. I want my choices and actions to show, hey, I value this. I want
your actions to be louder than your words.
Yes, I want to be a physical beast. I want to dunk. I'm dunking on somebody this year. And I want to be a spiritual beast. Devil, I'm coming for you. Okay? So this year, I'm on the offense. I feel like 2020, it was easy for me to say, you know what? I'm just going to...
If things come at you, you'll
Things come at me, I'll deal with them. But I'm just going to kind of just ride the wave, But this year, I am going after things because I feel like it's an easy year to say, I need to recover from last year. But if anything, that's not how my mind works. I'm like, what's the big obstacle? What's the big challenge? And let's overcome it. Like, let's make a crazy story. Let's do crazy things. Let's make big prayers that don't make sense. Let's go after it. So I'm looking forward to doing this podcast with you.
Yeah.
The first thought was how are we going to do that with 3 kids?
Right.
And so right now, Aunt Tori's upstairs.
Right. You may hear them crying.
You may hear them, but she's got all 3 kids up in a room. I am excited to write a book, a devotional, maybe together.
Yay.
I'm working on releasing new music. Shout out to Axel. We're bringing some fire, bringing some heat. Discipline. I don't want to be motivated. I want to be disciplined this year. Motivation goes away. Discipline stays.
Yeah.
I want to read 2 books a month. In December, I read 3 books. Just maybe even 4. Might have read 4. But yeah, I want to read. I want to learn. I want to explore Michigan. I want to take Shine to all of the things that I did growing up when it's safe.
Yeah.
I'm on the offense this year. I am going to. I was going to say something that I can't say. Yeah, I want to go after 2021. I want to be a year that we look back and we were like, wow, we did all of that.
Yeah.
And I want it to set the bar for the rest of our lives.
Yeah.
Amen.
Like,
we worked out this morning.
Hey.
Hustle game, homie. We worked out. My breakfast was a drink.
Me too.
Not an alcoholic drink. Like, it was a protein shake. You know?
Yeah.
And I only had one little treat. It was to get me through to lunchtime.
Oh.
I'm not going to order Hungry Howie's as much. And, yeah, I'm ready for 2021. Thank you. Anything you want to
No, thanks for joining us.
Yeah,
Thank you for spending your time with us.
Yeah, if you got all the way to this point, that means you really love us.
Yeah.
And so you can Venmo us, you can PayPal, Cash App, set up a direct deposit.
Yeah. No, you can just
for our prophetic ministry, healing ministry. We sell our own oil, prayer oil.
No. You can just commit to being here next Friday too, okay?
Yeah. Or that. That's fine too.
All right.
But we love you.
We love you guys.
If you watch to this point, we love you.
We love you. Thanks for
joining us. You get a Christmas gift.
Yeah. Christmas is over.
All right.
Episode 1,
done.
Thanks for joining us. We love you.